So going through all the tackle after a trip is important because, you know, it's most of all cost effective, and then you're restocking and repairing for your next trip to make sure you get out there and you don't have a bunch of rusted hooks or soft plastics that are dried up, or, you know, if you don't have your pliers working well, or I don't know, anything. You got to go through your tackle. And the black pack here is really what I carry everything in when I'm bass fishing. I have another black pack that I switch out if I'm striper fishing, or if I'm musky fishing, or doing something that isn't bass. I will load up this one, and it was a saltwater trip for sure. I will empty all the stuff out of there and really put it away. All these saltwater plugs, this looks like 30-pound fluorocarbon, you know, all these different things that are good for fishing saltwater get put away. But my bass stuff, I've utilized it on this trip. And what I tend to do is, when I'm done with it, it ends up in the cup. What do you see in the cup? Well, for one, there's a sabiki rig. I don't know. Am I going to use that again? Brandon Barton says no, he just disposes of them. But I'm going to put it with my saltwater stuff. I got a spinner bait here from Dugout Bait and Tackle in Marietta, Georgia. That goes back. A lot of what I'm doing is just putting things back, but you have things that you come across that are, you know what, that is a green jig, and I'm going to take the soft plastic off of there and find the palmetto bugs bag, because the Elastec, if you can put it back, that's not the right one, but I will find the right one. If you can put it back in the package, it just lasts longer. I'll do that with all this stuff. In fact, I'll make a big pile of Elastec. Here's actually caught a nice spotted bass on this one. That's the Mag Fatties on, I forget what you call the head. What's that head called? It's a Z-Man product. Put it in the comments. What's that head? It's a good one. I will also go through, and wherever I find, and I just found that one, fluorocarbon leader on there, I'll go through all my stuff and just have it ready. Get the clippers out, and just, you know, that little bit of gear maintenance takes time now, but it gives you time back when you're on the water, and that's your most valuable time, is when you're on the water. So going through this, got a jackhammer. I'm gonna leave that one as is, because I know if I take this big diesel minnow off there, it's gonna rip it up. But that'll go in a bag with a bunch of other custom jackhammers. That one got used on Caddo. I'm not saying by who. It wasn't me. I let one out. I let two out. So going through this and seeing, hey, you got a square bill here, that has to be put back into its place. You just go through all this stuff and you find, you know, you build piles of things to be put away, and then you put them away. You know, you do a little bit of maintenance and say, can this little scented jerk shad be salvaged? I think so. And get it off that hook. That may be, yeah, that may be put into rotation next time I hit the Susquehanna River. These diesel minnows, yeah, they got crazy glue on them. They're probably, I'm going to find a bag that has diesel minnows, drop those in there. But it's important to go through your stuff. And what else do I have left in the empty cup now? But a T-bolt. Not sure why that's in there, but I got my other random little pieces of hardware. So you take all this stuff. I will look through it and inspect treble hooks. Those are looking pretty good. A little bit of rust at the top, but those points are good. Yeah, they're still sticky. That's still gonna catch some fish. I will also use this time to restock. I know that I went through a pile of palmetto bugs, and I'm gonna be going through more. So I got 1, 2, 3, 4 more bags. I know I lost a bunch of these black jigs, so I'm gonna open that up and I'm gonna restock. So when I make them, I know, for instance, that's the 1/4 ounce black finesse jig that I make. I know that when I make them, I just leave them as a single strand, but I know when I get to restock them, I'll split them. I'll get that bristle guard and pull it apart and really have that split, that V formation, and then I can use the clippers. Usually I use a pair of scissors, which they're in my truck, but yeah, nail clippers work. And I'll restock. I think I snagged and lost like 3 of these, and which is a lot. If you're not snagging brush jigs, you're not fishing them in places where you don't expect them to come back. You have to skip these things in there, and the palmetto bugs are good at that. It gives you that bulk. Skip it in places that you have no idea how you're going to get a fish out of there. But you do. You're certainly not going to catch that fish if you don't skip it way in there. So I'll restock a couple of those. What other gear maintenance? I'm gonna get a pair. I'm gonna go find my WD-40 and get my pliers, my rusty. Although they're doing pretty good, I will spray them down with WD-40. Restocking with some new stuff I got. The Bill Lewis had a booth. Bill Lewis lures. I'm gonna take it out. That gold shad is what they're calling this. I'm restocking, putting some crankbaits. At the same time, I'm restocking some new stuff. Isn't that tasty? That thing's gonna work on the Susquehanna. Nice looking square bill. I'm also taking time to, I know I gotta restock my plug knockers. I lost 2 of those. I'll put those, they kind of live on the black pack. I just stick it right on one of the rod holders. But I use this time to transition from, and I made nice neat piles here. Now I'm gonna make a mess of it because I gotta get into what's under it to show you what I'm gonna do. Seasonal transitions. When you go through your gear and you rehab your gear, you replace treble hooks, you protect your soft plastics. I got all of my treble hook baits in here, and I'll look at this and say, really, what of this am I not going to be using in the next? I mean, it's the end of October. We're transitioning into winter, and what do I need more of? Jerk baits. What do I need less of? Top water. So I will make some room, taking out this fun little whopper plopper, taking out the Sammy, making room for the Pointer 100. So that seasonal transition is important. It's something you gotta, acknowledge that, hey, things are gonna be transitioning to where topwater and wake baits, maybe not the most effective presentation in, it's about to be November. These jerk baits, however, they definitely get the nod. They definitely need to see some rotation. Some of these deep divers can come out too. Not that they aren't deep, but it's the time to update and get some seasonal changes. The other thing I'm going to look at is is my supply of Liquid Mayhem Good. And I got one there and it's looking skinny. I do look at the Gorilla Glue. It's not hardened up. We're in good shape with the Gorilla Glue. That's kind of it for the tackle, but I got one other thing here before I tend to my now not so neat piles of baits that I got to go through. My nets. Month and a half ago, smallmouth fishing, throwing the jackhammer, saw the tail of a fish kind of wavering up in this eddy, and I said, that looks like a carp mucking up the bottom. And usually where there's a carp digging, there's a smallmouth behind just waiting for a crayfish or hellgrammite to scoot out, and he's going to grab it. It's just a really common pattern, especially summertime. It's what I thought was going on. I was wrong. The tail that was flipping up like that was a muskie, and he ate that jackhammer. And I brought him in, and he messed up my net somewhere. Yeah, he chewed through. He absolutely went all the way through the bottom of this. And I did a little maintenance after that trip. These are just zip ties. He really bit through the net and then shot through it, and I unhooked the jackhammer, and then he went the rest of the way, and he made it all the way through. But these little zip ties to fix the net certainly helped. Had something similar happen here, where I had a snakehead blow out the side here, and I was able to use the zip ties and get them going again. So they're great nets, leverage landing nets. They're not invincible, and certainly muskie and snakehead, they wreck everything. So, you know, to be expected if you're using the stuff. So, all right. So that's gear maintenance. It's replacing treble hooks, taking care of your Laztecs, putting them back, lubricating your pliers, fixing your nets, restocking and doing those seasonal transitions so that you make sure you have the appropriate baits in your tackle box for the season that is out in front of you. That's it.